And we are back. Couch Company Podcast. I'm John. With me, as always, Tyler.
I'm Tyler, and I'm trying to match your cadence.
So I started listening to our intros.
Yeah.
Not started. I have listened to our intros, and I get into a rhythm of my cadence. So I try to break it up.
Why?
I don't want to be the same.
Is that because every episode starts out the same, so it's like you don't know what episode you're on until maybe like
No, it's just it sounds the same, and repetition is the death of creativity.
Oh. Okay. Dark.
I don't think that's dark. I think that's just a thing.
Next time, plug your nose and say it.
No.
Or do it with an accent.
I got to do it seriously because it's a serious podcast, but
okay. Crap.
Just have to
I didn't know that.
Mix it
You
up.
should have told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hold on. All right. Hello, good sir.
All right. Nah, we're not a serious
Good
podcast.
morning.
But we have some serious topics to talk about today.
Needles again? Or what are we talking about?
No, not needles. A video game podcast is what we are.
So serious discussion about video games.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, we started talking about it a little bit before we started recording.
Yes, as we do. We warm up.
But now that we're recording, we got to get into it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to jump into it.
Okay.
So Xbox just had their Developer Direct.
Was it called the Microsoft Developer Direct or
I don't
Xbox
think so. I thought it was Xbox.
Okay, then
because they had the Xbox symbol. Remember, they painted it in. I was like, I wonder if Tyler likes this style of.
I do, and here's why. It's consistent because they did that on the last Direct.
Oh,
and
really?
It's like I'm good with that. It's indicative of like, hey, it's still in the works. Like you're still building something. You're still drafting things out. I'm cool with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The subtle undertones. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I look at design stuff and it's all subconscious for me.
It's
like
all
whether I like it or not. But for you, it's very
subtle undertones.
Cerebral.
No, I'm just the ass. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
You
know what you're talking about. That's the difference.
I find a lot of designers pretentious.
Yeah, I find a lot of musicians pretentious.
Yeah. One of the things you learn in art school is how to
not be
sell
a good
your
person.
Well,
Okay.
Sure, yes, that's you. But how to sell your ideas or how to sell your approach, where you might design something and it's just like, I thought this looked cool.
Yeah.
But then you can't say that. You have to explain like, oh, well, I chose a circle because of unity and unbrokenness of blah, blah,
really?
blah, blah, blah,
It's
blah,
that
blah.
bad?
Yeah. I mean, that's how you get a good grade, where it's like, if you're standing up in front of the class and you're showing the thing that you did, especially when I'm talking this stuff, it's more of like brand identities and corporate designs and things like that, because that's what I kind of specialized in.
Sure.
And it's just, you have to pretend you're in front of a lot of bigwigs and heads of companies, and then you have to explain why this circle looks better than this oval or something like that. And you have to tie it back to their core values of a company and all the different pillars they have. And yeah.
No, that's interesting. That's very practical.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it got me far in design. I don't knock it. It's just for people that kind of go in there and like, what does this picture mean to you and stuff? Look, as long as it makes you think, sure. Like there's no right or wrong answer.
Makes you think. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very subconscious for me. Like I said, like when I see a image, like a design or like a
color palette.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. I either like it or I don't. And I'm not very good at explaining why. So
doesn't matter.
That's
it's
where
like,
I bring you in.
Would this look good on Nina Williams? If yes, then it's a good palette. If no, then get it out of here.
Did they add the customized slots yet?
I don't know. I think so.
The day they do that, I'm back on Tekken 8.
There's a big update on it, so I think so.
Is it coming out or did come out?
I assume it came out.
I think Anna's coming out soon.
So you got a little time. Yeah. It's every season. So you got a little bit.
I keep thinking winter is like
last
Q1.
Year. Yeah.
But winter's actually like December, I guess. Like Heihachi was winter.
Winter, I mean, when spring started?
Or no, Clive was winter. How do they break it up? Do they go spring, summer, fall, winter?
Yeah. Heihachi was fall. Clive's winter.
I'm generally used to winter is the Q1 of the year.
Oh, so
because winter, spring.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how I view it.
I think that's probably more correct.
I think so. December throws it all off, though, right? Because December's winter, so it's like
the change of the year is what throws it off.
Yes, that is true. Have you played Heihachi? You have played him, right?
Very little. Yeah.
We got to get back on there. We've been looking for a game to play, and it's like that's the obvious choice.
Probably.
I would think.
by the time we play something together, it's either going to be we'll do a quick round of balloons, or all these new games coming out are going to be out.
Well, you were talking about what you can play with your baby.
Yeah.
Tekken.
Yeah.
I wonder, so we're off topic, right?
Yeah,
but
sorry.
PS5 Pro, there was a list of games that is compatible with its upscaling capability. Is Tekken one of them?
I don't know.
Did you look at that list?
I didn't. I don't even know if it needs to be, really. Like, what's the point of it?
I don't know. It looks better.
I guess.
Well, I don't know. Digital Foundry said it's pretty good.
Yeah, if you know what you're looking for. That's the thing. And
You know what you're looking for.
I really don't. Like, when you're playing games and you're actually just playing games, and this is me coming off of, like, you know, the Switch and the Steam Deck and everything, it's at some point you're just playing it and it's fun and you just make do with it.
Yeah.
Whenever you start going like, oh, is this aliasing in the skyscraper in the very, very far background when you're trying to, like, swing as Spider-Man and just not hit a telephone pole? Like, I don't know if you really notice that stuff. Mm-hmm. I think you'd notice it for, like, Final Fantasy, but now that's on PC and we don't care.
Wow.
I'm not going to go out and buy a PS5 Pro for Final Fantasy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That's what, like a 68 on PC Gamer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I just
that
had
is
like
crazy.
a little jab.
I don't care. I mean, I do care, but yeah, I was telling Tyler, so the reviews for the PC version for Rebirth, they're coming out now. PC Gamer gave it a 68, which is insane to me. That's great. Like, even if you don't like the game,
it's too low. Yeah.
That's too low.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not your cup of tea, I think you got to respect what it's doing more than a 68. 68 is like a failing grade. That's insane. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I threw up
when you read the.
I don't know. It was crazy. But I actually read the article too because I was curious. All right, like what their main gripe with it was pacing of the story, I guess, and then nothing like the story is nothing happens, which I don't think is necessarily true. But I mean, the point of this game that you have to remember, this is the middle part of one game.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different in that context, but the point of this game is to flesh out the world and characters. And that's very evident even in the gameplay, right? Like you have the bond gameplay with your party mates now, right? And obviously you're traveling all over the place. So, because it's like the open world, you have the zones and whatever. So, I don't know. They're not hiding the ball on what they're trying to accomplish in this game.
I still think it's a valid criticism, which I think I honestly talked about, where it's like the story that it's supposed to be like, oh man, this is like important. This is, and granted, I only played the first 30 hours or whatever, so like maybe the back half would be different, but at least in the beginning, it's all the main plot points are like you have to go after this thing. It never felt very...
Yeah, it's like you're following a bunch of ropes.
Important.
The whole game.
Yeah.
But that's the original too.
Sure.
So it's like...
Look, I agree with you. I think 68 is too low.
Like, what would this guy say about the original FO7? So, like a masterpiece? Or is that also 68? Because it's... I don't know. Because it's faithful.
This has a lot more filler than the original.
Yes, because it's an entire game based off of a middle section of a game.
but that's I think what they're getting at is like where the first game.
I don't think the filler's necessarily bad. Like some of it's better than other parts.
Yeah,
but Queen's Blood's filler.
Yeah,
that's one of the best parts of the game.
I agree.
So it's like, all right, well, you're calling everything filler, which it is, but it's like
going and like finding a feather of a griffin on a mountaintop or something.
But you don't have to do that.
You don't. But here's the problem. This is my main issue, and not that this turns into a Rebirth rehash.
Yeah.
My main problem with it is just because it's like, oh, you don't have to do this thing, or oh, you should do that. Like,
yeah.
If it's like a filler or a bad thing of the game, or like not very, compelling. Why have it in your game? Because then you're starting to get into the point where I got several of those missions back to back to back where it's like, this is actually not super great. This is kind of boring. This is like, I could skip this. And then the time that I skip the mission where it's like, oh, maybe I don't have to go run this dog down or whatever and do this. Then it's suddenly, oh, that launches this whole sequence of this Queen's Blood thing and all the stuff that you like. You missed it. And it's like, how do I know? You know what I mean?
I think that's like one of the only cases in the entire game, though.
Okay, but then
I didn't realize.
That's even worse.
I didn't realize that that even unlocks that town or whatever.
But that's the crazy bit, though, right? Where it's
But that's like you found the only one. Like, congratulations.
yeah, but that feels bad.
It feels terrible.
So it's, I don't know. I get it. I still think 68's low, but I think it could have been paced better. I think it could be a little bit more streamlined, personally, because I don't think any of those really evolve the characters per se. Like bringing someone a teacup to a windmill or whatever it is. I'm making that up. Like,
yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like finding a secret package of blah, 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 and then bringing it to this person. That doesn't bond your team closer. I'm not saying that other side quests don't, or they have like kind of these moments where they're together. But
yeah, some of them are like not as good, but I enjoy the characters enough where I don't mind doing it.
It looks way better. I think I'm actually excited to go in and look at it in the PC.
Very good.
So yeah.
I think it's been running fine too. I've been seeing mixed reviews on that.
Yeah.
So I played a couple hours of it and it's run great. I would say, I was telling you this earlier, some of the cutscene transitions, there's a little bit of stuttering there, but nothing crazy. A lot better than Remake when that came out on PC. So I'm happy with it. 68's too low. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
At least like a 78.
Sure. I still
you know what I
think
mean?
that's,
Like,
low, but like, sure.
Sure.
If you don't like the game, I think, 70 something.
Anything like it's definitely silver. It's like bare minimum, it's silver territory.
I would do, yeah. But it's crazy. It's like, oh, the combat's so sick. Like the characters are great. Blah blah blah.
See,
it's like
combat's my least favorite part
of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the combat's great.
I just can't wrap my head around. Like that's why I'm hoping with this one where it's like I'll be in front of my monitor. I don't have to like squint to see the dialogue and stuff.
Sure.
And I'm gonna like really, really try to like.
I thought you were saying like you came back to it and it was like clicking with you.
I did, but then it's miserable when you're. I couldn't read. The text was too small on the television.
Well, look,
because I was across the room. So
I
like,
think that's the game's fault.
It's my old eyes, sure, but it's that mixed with like performance isn't maybe sometimes super great on certain things, and I was just too far in to really figure stuff out.
I got you.
The thing that annoys me though is about on Steam.
Yeah.
Well, I had, and I wasn't thinking about this. I have Remake on
Epic.
I
ran the same
which means
thing.
I got nothing.
No crossover.
Yep.
Yeah, I ran into the same thing.
So if
I was
Kyle's
like, wait a minute,
listening, Kyle wants a save on each of them.
Yeah. Just buy the package.
Buy it from the same store, or wait till the third one comes out and just get that.
Yeah.
They're saying that it's not going to be exclusive, the third one.
They're trying not to, It's going to be interesting. And what's very promising with that as well is since the Switch 2 is coming out, potentially could be on Switch.
That can't be good, right?
After seeing what the low settings are on Rebirth, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Because the low settings on Rebirth are worse, significantly worse than the PS5.
What about the PS4? Because they're saying the Switch 2 is roughly around the same power as a PS4
That's what
Pro.
I'm saying. I think that a PS4 Pro maybe could run the lowest settings of Rebirth.
I mean, that's what Remake did.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's feasible. If they can get it onto Switch, that's the secret sauce, in my opinion. Switch is just so popular.
Yeah.
I think that would really open up, especially in Japan, right? I think that's the most popular system in Japan because I don't think the series has been doing super well in Japan, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think definitely like the exclusivity these days is just a death sentence most of the time.
If it was me, I would love to see them just retool the entire thing once the third one comes out. And make it a seamless thing.
For, yeah.
They're never going to do that, but that's what I would love to see.
I think they might if third one comes out and then that would be like their final thing, just making it a complete seamless.
Yeah, but like you would have to streamline the combat. You would have to like.
You don't think they would do that? Retouch everything a couple years later?
Oh, like after the fact, like Final Fantasy
I'm saying
7,
it's all over. Not when 3 comes out. 3's going to come out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a complete trilogy, and then maybe a couple years later, it's like the complete edition.
Or it's
whatever.
over.
Yeah, it's super over.
Yeah.
Maybe. I could see that.
Maybe,
I could see that. That'd be great, just having it seamless. Anyways. So that's what PlayStation's up to, I guess.
Yep.
Or Square.
But that's not what we're talking about.
No, we're talking about
Microsoft.
Xbox Developer Direct.
Yeah.
Some alliteration for you. Which means 2 letters are the same in the words.
Not necessarily letters, but the sound of the letters.
Really?
Yeah.
Give me an example that the letters aren't the same, but the sounds are the same.
I don't.
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know why this came into my head.
Here we go.
What about a Nutting Gnome?
Ah, Is that alliteration?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Maybe a nutty gnome.
Nutty gnome. That's
maybe
a little more
less
PG.
Sexual. Yeah. I don't know why that popped in my head.
Because you have a filthy, disgusting mind.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
And so these books you're reading, I'm very concerned about you and all of our friends. I think it's a disease.
It is. Yeah.
I think it's a. And you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
We're gonna get to Xbox, folks. I promise. But what is crazy is that I'm starting to get smut YouTubers on my fucking phone because of you. Like, fuck you.
It's not me.
That's you. That is you, dude. Because it listens. My phone's on. It listening to us every time we record.
That's not me though.
That's you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's like yesterday. This chick is on my phone. I'm scrolling in my YouTube shorts, and she's like, "The big sausage was pulsating." Blah blah blah. It's like some spoof or whatever on like smut writers.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, why the fuck am I watching this?
It can't be me.
It's you.
No, I think it's just.
It's who is it? It's not me.
I think it's the United States. It's just the world.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
This stuff can't be popular. I don't want to live in a
You
world.
don't realize how popular it is. Like,
it is popular for women.
Target,
for women, though.
it's insane. Well, that's very sexist. I don't know about that.
I don't think that's sexist at all. I think that's a literal fact. What's the breakdown?
What's
the breakdown?
I don't have the numbers right in front of me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if you did, what would you suspect it would be? Gun to your head.
Like 80-20 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I'm not saying it should be that way. I'm just saying it is.
It's wild. So, like, when we went to Target, no, seriously, like, we went to Target, like, maybe, like, let's call it 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Like, maybe around, like, Black Friday, and I was telling Chelsea, and she was like, oh, yeah, like, all these smutty books at Target. I'm like, I don't think they do, like, the real, like, smutty books and stuff.
No.
Within 2 months, dude,
Filthy.
it's, like, the darkest of the books are, like, just on the shelf.
Darkest? What do you mean by dark?
Oh, like, every trigger warning, like, adult thing is like there, ready to read. Apparently the Book Talk and Booksta and all those things, like, they are like directing publishers. You know what I mean? Like, the popularity in social media and like what people gravitate towards of like series and types of books and things like that.
Yeah.
That is literally shaping what publishers are doing. It's like that's changing the industry, which is insane.
Yeah. So it's very popular.
That's what
a lot
of
money.
Like, it's
a lot of money there.
Yes.
Interesting.
Dude,
are you going to write one?
No, you just gotta start out in fanfic.
If you did a fan fiction, what universe would you use?
Oh,
Fan fiction doesn't have to be sexual, by the way, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. Because I would write a Winnie the Pooh fan fiction.
I'm not super far in the Mass Effect one I'm reading, but so far, not sexual at all. It's just very interesting.
It's going to get there.
It's probably a slow burn, yeah. Dude, it's a longer book than like most.
Yeah, but that
novels.
one's like rewriting. I like the fan fiction where you fit it in, no pun intended, that in a way where it could be canon, right? Yeah. One of my favorite examples of this is the Lord of the Rings game, you know, the one with Talion.
Yeah, Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor. And what's the other one?
Shadow of War.
Shadow of War, yeah. Shadow of War is the second one?
Yes.
Anyways, so in the second one, obviously, spoiler alert, he eventually becomes like a Nazgul at the end, right? Part of the
and then you can just continue just playing the game indefinitely.
That game's so fucking good.
Yeah.
That game's awesome. It's in my top 100 easily.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he becomes like one of the 6 or whatever, or 7, whatever, how many there are. So whenever we watch Lord of the Rings, David's headcanon is that he's the guy that's looking for Frodo when he's hiding underneath the tree stump.
Sure.
Because that's one of the random ones, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So he's always like, that's Talion. Which it could be.
It could be.
So
and
I
love that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, that's a great like fan fiction headcanon that you can't disprove that.
Sure.
That's my favorite example.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So long story long, I would really like a Mass Effect fan fiction that could be canon.
I'm sure that they exist. I think
for example, you just flesh out the indoctrination theory.
Yeah, well, the problem with
Shepard wakes up.
But the problem with that, though, is it's very dependent on who is actually alive, who did what with the suicide
Well, in a game like
stuff.
that, there's too many choices. That's correct.
Yeah.
But I guess it also makes it easier because it could be canon as well, because there's not an infinite, but a lot of different canon versions, right? Because your choice indicates like what the canon of the game is.
That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's somebody's canon. My thing is the one I'm
This
reading.
can't be like that. Can't be
It
canon
can't
though,
be.
because
It can't be, but
it's the first
interesting.
contact war.
But it's interesting and it's good.
That's fine. Like,
it's
you
good.
do you. You read your disgusting,
Like they just
filthy books.
had a
but
movie night with Garrus' sister, and
I don't
it
think
was
Garrus
nice,
even has
and
a
they
sister.
Well, he does here, and
This is why
they were
can't do it.
buddy, and they were starting to come together.
This could have just
But
been a
then-
human in a Turian.
Yeah.
Why did it have to be Garrus and Shep?
Because I'll tell you what, it makes me want to replay Mass Effect as FemShep, romancing Garrus.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Garrus is your best friend.
Yeah.
in the world.
It's the best of both worlds.
I guess so. I just never knew how that would work, like an anatomy level. How do you kiss? How do you
I'll tell
kiss?
you what. Let me get further in the book, and I'm sure.
How do you kiss a Turian?
On his mandibles?
That's so not working in my head.
I can't look. I can't tell
Like there's no lips.
you. Yeah.
I don't think they can kiss. Honestly, if you want my gut reaction, to that.
What is kissing? Kissing is just the act of putting two mouths together.
Yeah, they don't have a mouth. They have like jaws
Yeah.
that
Well, they
separate.
they actually do a very good job describing how they sound and stuff.
You know what? Get to the kissy scenes, and
will.
then
Yeah, I'll tell you.
please inform me how that works.
I got you.
Perfect.
I got you. They've already
Excellent.
had because they got it was an arranged marriage type of thing.
Oh, interesting.
So they already had it. Like Turians, you have to consummate the marriage for
Yes.
it to like work. So like they kind of like faked it.
First of all,
basically.
a Turian would never arrange a marriage with a human, especially in that period of time.
That's the thing.
That's the point. It's like gasp.
Well, no. That's the thing is the Turians. What they said is they wanted it
For a
thinking
peace,
that
brokering
but
peace.
thinking
That's
that
interesting.
humans would deny it, and then they would ask
Oh,
for like
interesting.
more stuff. So like there's
There's a little
there's
something
some
going on there.
story behind it, which is
Yeah,
good.
right.
Yeah,
I like that.
I liked
that.
it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Xbox Developer Direct.
Yeah, so there was an Xbox Developer Direct. Speaking of Sony.
This is where I'm going to start the
right here.
timestamp. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very interesting. They showcased 4 games. One of them was an announcement, which they started with. So what were your thoughts on starting with the new reveal? I thought that was an interesting tactic because generally they would save something like that for the end, right?
Yeah. I was fine with it. I think so. Ninja Gaiden 4 was a big reveal.
Studio Ninja. It's a studio that like everyone left, so it's like it was actually very surprising.
Yeah. I think that it's been gone for a while where like certain people would remember it. So like
Ninja Gaiden.
yeah. So like I would remember it. Cousin remember
I
like
think a lot of people remember it.
our age. But what
Oh,
I'm
I
saying
see,
is
the
if you're
younger.
talking the younger generation, I don't
Interesting.
think they know what the heck that
Ninja
is.
Gaiden is, yeah.
So it's
I
like
remember it because it was always that game that was like pushing the line, you know?
from like a gore standpoint or something.
Yeah, it was like a game
Yeah.
I was never allowed to play
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
But that was like kind of the thing back then. It was like, oh, dude, it's so sick.
They also haven't been around for a while, you know?
It's been a while.
So I think to
Like
come
the
out
last
with that,
one was Xbox 360, right? Or was
yeah.
it Xbox One?
No, probably 360.
I know
Unless
that
unless
Ninja
they
Gaiden
remade it.
2 was 360. That was 08 because they also announced the remaster of that game
in Unreal 5.
in Unreal 5. But I don't know when 3 came out. I don't know if it was the next gen, but
Yeah. Anyway,
somewhere
like,
in there, yeah.
regardless, it was like I think it was the right choice because it was start to show off surprising people, and then you're not like saving it towards the end where maybe like some younger audience are like, oh, what are we getting? You know, like they're excited and it's like, oh, and here's this game, and then, like it might not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think probably the correct order because what they closed with, which is Doom,
Yeah.
I think everyone's excited for. That was probably the most
Yeah.
popular
Yeah, we'll get there.
thing going into that.
Yeah.
So Ninja Gaiden 4, it looked very cool. They showed gameplay as well, which also looked very cool.
Yeah.
I was never like so like I was too young to like play these games because my mom would have killed me, but I'm kind of excited for it. It looked very interesting to me. And
I
it's
wanna
a
play-
well-respected franchise.
Like I want to play 2 Black, which is the one that came out, like the remake, remaster. I guess remaster. So I want to play that and just kind of like see because I've never played any of the
Oh, really?
like 2 whatever. Like
Interesting.
I really didn't do those. So I want to try that and just kind of see because from what people were saying, it's like it's very like product of its time. So
Yeah.
it's like if you hit Y and B together, it does a special move. But if you accidentally hit it, it's like you do your special move and then you lose the like energy buildup that you had or whatever. And it's like, it feels like an old game versus like the modern type of things where like, I think they were comparing it to Ghost of Tsushima, where it's like you have to hold a thing to do the thing, and they solved a lot of that. And like the lock on targets and things, it's like all that's absent in this game, where it's like you better block a lot, you better like it's tougher, it's old school, which people might really like. So who knows? But I think it's getting review bombed on Steam. Is that right?
I don't know,
because they changed a couple things that people were like, oh, it's easier. It's not the Ninja Gaiden I know. I could be wrong there, but I think that was one of the things. But 4 looked good.
It's
think
on Steam.
Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah,
I think so.
Oh, interesting. I thought it was just on like Game Pass.
It's like
and
$50
stuff.
on Steam or something.
Ugh.
Yeah,
that's why they review bomb it. It's
Maybe.
on Game Pass,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the best way to play it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
$12 a month.
Yes. But the new one looks interesting. I thought it looked still old. Like it didn't like. Maybe I'm just getting Unreal 5 like spoiled, I guess. But it didn't look like, oh my god, this is the most gorgeous game. Like it looked like the animations looked cool and stuff, but it did look kind of like older in my opinion. When you're looking at like the surrounding areas, it looked pretty like open, I guess, like kind of like and I maybe I gotta go back and look at it in like a higher resolution.
I don't think I
something.
was blown away by the
Yeah.
visuals, but I did think like you said, the animations, the fighting in general.
Dude, any
combat
fighting
looks
that's not a freaking Souls like I'm happy for it.
Yeah, dude, it's more like what's it called? Devil May Cry-ish.
Yeah.
Is what I
Which
like
can
more.
be challenging. Like you can, when I say Souls like, I'm not like, you can have a challenging game. And honestly, probably like
Souls-like
Stellar Blade's probably the closest thing to it.
Yeah.
That I played recently, but it's like speed. Like I want speed and dodging and parrying and that sort of thing. That's like just not brutally punishing where, oh, I hit this swing of my sword too early and now I'm just going to get like kicked around the map for 12 minutes, you know? I don't know.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm with you on that. The speed, the combos.
Like I want to be in the middle of a combo and then just decide, I'm good, and then just like dodge out of the way. Not like, well, I input the thing, so I got to wait for the animation to play out.
Yeah, it's just a lot more weighty.
Yeah.
The Souls-like, I think.
Boy, we're going to love Monster Hunter when that comes out.
Yeah, I'm probably not. But I'm going to try it. That's going to be my first Monster Hunter ever, so.
Yeah. Did you have a date? When was Ninja Gaiden coming out? Did they give a date for that?
No, they just said fall.
Okay, so it's going to be a while.
That's the only one that doesn't have a date.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I should mention as well, all of these day one Game Pass, which is excellent.
Yep.
Excellent news. I think we're going to be eating well on Game Pass this year.
Yeah, I hope so.
Like I already played Indiana Jones, which is great. And then we have a couple coming up. Sniper Elite, Orcs Must Die. Avowed comes out in February. And then these 4.
Yeah.
So
I keep
that's
forgetting
already-
about Avowed, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be any good, but it's going to be on Game Pass, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
It's like, why not?
Sure.
It's going to be great. So the second game they not announced, but a little update was the South of Midnight.
Yeah.
This is the Bayou Gothic, what do they call it? Gothic folklore, like inspired. So, which is interesting. Like, that's obviously not a realm a lot of games tackle. Like, you know, a lot of games do like folklore of, I don't know, other stuff.
Yeah.
European
Right.
folklore, right? This is like talking crawfish. And
Yeah, I didn't know the Bayou had
catfish.
their lore, but
Oh,
I guess it makes
100%.
sense,
Yeah, and it's I think it's pretty extensive because it gets derived from like there's French influence down there, a lot of that. Like if you think New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
It's inspired by a lot of that stuff, and I think it's pretty interesting. They kind of revealed what the plot's about. They showed some more gameplay. How do you feel about the visual style of that game? I think it's very interesting.
I like the visual style, but the frame rate, I can't tell if the frame rate is tied to the visual style because it seemed like the frame rate was different in every shot that they did. Like they kind of like cobbled together different stages of like development where sometimes it looked almost like claymation or like kind of this stop motion type of stuff. Some of it looked a lot more fluid. Some of it looked like it was just 30 frames versus 60 frames versus stuttery versus not. So I was very, I mean, you know how I am with that kind of stuff, but like I was very like distracted by just seeing the performance of it. So like I was missing out, I think, on like, do I like what they're showing? Like performance aside, do I like what they're showing? If it's a stop motion style thing and it's consistent throughout, then like I'm fine with it. I think the art style itself looks okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what they were saying. It was stop motion like inspired, I guess. Like
okay,
the type of effect that they're going for. So I think that's a part of it. So the performance like in that kind of visual style is really hard to tell, right?
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to look choppy. Ish.
But like you watched Spider-Man. So Spider-Man 2 had that thing where like one of the suits was very animated. So it was like the game was going at 60 frames or whatever, but then the Spider-Man suit was going at like 24 frames or whatever, like anime style it is. Mm-hmm. And I just find it distracting. So I think that's my biggest issue.
Right. It might be a situation like that where it's very competing styles.
Yeah.
Conflicting styles, maybe.
Animation.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you have to get into the game, but yeah, I think it's interesting. Not my favorite. Like I kind of prefer the higher fidelity, fluid kind of style personally, but
yeah, I mean, it might have
you can't have everything like that, obviously, right? So
yeah,
I think it's creative. It's a different angle. I probably would say this is I'm least interested in this out of the 4 that were announced.
Yes.
But I'm gonna play it. Like I think it's interesting.
Comes out in April, right? So
yeah, this comes out in April.
Yeah,
like April 12th or something.
Yep.
So I think it'll be interesting. I'm curious what the combat's gonna be like. They talked about the combat a little bit. It looks interesting. A lot of unique abilities. She has like a spindle or something. I was kind of confused on what was going on, but I think they're trying to kind of branch out from what maybe we're used to. So
yeah.
It's creative.
Sure.
It's a creative game. See how it goes. I liked the talking.
The last creative game that they did was like Hi-Fi Rush. So
is it the same studio?
No. I'm just saying the last time like they tried
to that was a great game.
You know, put it out there. Yeah, absolutely. But then they shut that studio down. So like I hope that it's like
didn't they revive it or something?
I think someone else grabbed it.
Yeah. But I don't know. The third game, which I believe I'm personally most excited for, is this Expedition 33.
Yeah.
By some French.
Something obscura.
Yeah, I don't know what the first part of it is, but this game looks beautiful though.
Yeah.
And it's turn-based, which is very interesting to me.
It's turn-based with real-time components. Yeah, which I like.
Well, I think those are very hit or miss for me.
Like Mario RPG.
Right. Yeah, I think it can be very hit or miss for me personally, but they were talking specifically about the gameplay, and they said that they've refined the formula for it.
Sure.
What
are they going to say?
I don't know. They said they spent a lot of time on it, and they got a good balance, so I'm curious. Curious what that looks like.
I would be really concerned if they were like, yeah, we really took a shot. We don't know if it's any good. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like they'd talk about it less if they weren't confident about it, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
They're drawing attention to it.
Yeah.
So like they had a whole section dedicated to that.
Yeah.
I mean, they were saying stuff like if you parry perfectly, you negate all damage or something.
Yeah.
So it must be very hard to do that because if you can do that consistently, you'll never take damage. That's insane.
It's cool.
So I'm just really curious to see how that plays out and how balanced it is. Because they said, like if you aren't good at this, if you're a scrub, you can outplay by strategy and more traditional turn-based. So I'm like, how does that feel? Like, is it actually going to be that way? Or are you going to have to play on a lower difficulty if you're bad?
It's single player, right? Like it's just its own thing. Yeah. Which is good.
So
it looks good.
I
think
really like the style of it. I don't know. I think the characters looked great. I loved people were saying it was Persona-esque. With like the turn-based and camera angles and like menus kind of deal.
I could see it.
Yeah, maybe a little inspired by that, but the stylistic choices are very different.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's really interesting. I really liked the cinematography of it though.
That's what I mean. Like it was very like the lighting was really good. Yeah. The animations were really good.
So you're thinking
like, I'm thinking they showed a very well crafted vertical slice that like in practice I don't think it's going to look that good. But hey,
we'll see.
Maybe it will.
If it does, that would be very.
Did
impressive.
They say the engine?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so, unless I missed it. But I'm excited about that one quite a bit.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I'm tentatively excited on these things because it's like some of the stuff last year we got kind of burned on and different things. So it's like
what?
I think Indiana Jones was maybe misrepresented in terms of visuals because whenever they're showcasing that game, that thing looked. I've never got that game to look as good as they were showing it. So I think some of that.
You also don't have the best hardware though.
Yeah, but like I have some pretty good hardware. You know what I mean? Like
it's
better
generation
than
behind.
an Xbox. It's better than an Xbox.
I agree.
So it's like that kind of stuff is like.
Well, they
what do
weren't
you need
showing
to-
it on Xbox, were they?
I don't know. I mean, they were showing it at the Microsoft, like the Xbox.
They never showed that shit
Thing.
on Xbox.
Yeah,
I
well-
remember Forza, dude. That was a
Yeah, but
rug
okay,
pull
but
where
that's
it's like,
a perfect example too.
look
where
at
it's
this.
like-
We're gonna zoom in on this car, and you can see the whole world through the reflection. It's like, okay, and then the ground disappears.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
there are some things where it's like they show some stuff and it's just
Yeah.
like maybe not as nice as it looks.
Yeah, it could be. I'm excited for it, and it's like
Yeah.
a new property. It's like I'm very rarely am I excited for a new property.
How do you feel about France? Like you like the setting?
I could take it or leave it.
Yeah. It was feeling like kind of
The Les
Assassin's Creed.
Miserables was a thing.
Yeah, it's accurate.
I don't know. I like the premise a
different
lot,
eras.
though. I think
Sure.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, people are dying or whatever, and like
Ah,
a group
people
sets out.
death. That's cool.
What? Okay, you didn't let me finish.
Okay, go
but
ahead, go ahead.
people get set up to, it's an expedition.
Yeah.
33.
33rd expedition.
33rd.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool premise. I think it's
Do they have a
interesting.
date for it?
February.
Oh, really?
Or not February, April, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say.
All of
geez.
these are April. The next three.
Doom's May.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear they were all April.
Yeah, Doom's May.
All right. Well, they're April, and May.
The only reason I know that is because you can
Circled
pre-download all of these.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was like, oh man, Doom's coming out, and it's like, no, it's in May. I'm like, why would you pre-install Doom?
You're excited, dude.
You're gonna install it. They're gonna patch it. They're gonna do something. You're just gonna be downloading gigs
Yeah.
and gigs and
Yeah.
gigs. Like just wait for it to come out. Like you can wait the 30 minutes, hour and a
Tyler's
half.
such a hater.
I'm just saying, like, I get you're excited. Pre-order the thing then. Don't pre-install it to.
It's on Game Pass. Why would I pre-order it?
What I'm saying is, like, if you want to show how excited you are, buy the
By a Doom guy?
whatever. I don't
know.
know. Anyway,
Yeah, it's April, I'm pretty sure. But
Doom. Want to bet cheeseburger?
no,
Can I get a
the
cheeseburger back?
Expedition 33 is in April.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I thought they were all in April, but I guess I'm wrong.
It's weird that they put all of them in. I mean, yeah, sure, but
They're trying to separate.
dude, that is a stacked April if they do that. And then what do you have for the rest of the year? If it was me, I'd separate those out. Because I
Grand
thought
Theft
it
Auto,
was
dude.
like you do.
Nobody is
Dude,
going to
Grand
come
Theft
out.
Auto, yeah, Grand Theft Auto isn't coming out this year.
Cheeseburger?
Ooh, yeah, I'll take a cheeseburger on that.
All right, done.
I think we already
Shaking
have
hands?
this. I think we already have this bet.
Well, then
personally,
it's
but
doubled.
double cheeseburger.
Double
Nope, double cheeseburger.
cheeseburger.
Yeah, it's not coming out. I think they're
It is.
scaring everybody.
No,
and
it
then
is.
you think it's gonna be $100?
No.
You don't think?
No.
People are hoping.
What?
Yeah, analysts are hoping that it's going to be $100.
Why?
Break that ceiling because it's one of the few games that they could put it at 100 and people would still buy it, and they're hoping that that's going to be the next jump in.
They're already only releasing it on consoles to get us to buy it twice, which we're going
Yeah.
to. So the game's already $140, pretty much.
Sure.
So
Well, now it's 200.
if it's 100, I might not buy it.
You'll get it.
I don't think so.
That's the thing. That's what people are saying. That's all I'm putting out there is
no.
if
Why would
if-
they go from 70 to 100? That's insane.
because then it bumps everyone else up.
Dude,
So all the $50 games now 60,
I'm
all the
quitting
$60
video
games
games
70,
if that
$70
happens.
80.
No,
Yeah.
I'm quitting games.
If anyone can pull it off, it's them.
100%. And if they do it, I'm quitting.
Look it up. Like that's a legit
I
thing
actually
that they're
haven't
trying
heard
to do.
that. I believe you
Yeah.
that people were saying that. They're not going to do that. That's
between
crazy.
between 80
That's
and
crazy.
100. Would you pay 80 for it?
Yeah, I'd do 80.
What's another $20?
$20.
Sure.
A
What if you get a sweet car?
It's another. It's a precedent. No, in no time in video game history have they bumped it up by $30. Never. They've never done that. Are you in favor of this?
No, of course not.
It sounds like you are. It sounds
No,
like you're sucking them off. This is what it sounds like.
I don't even think Grand Theft Auto is worth 60, much less 100.
That's crazy.
Okay, I'm
It's
just saying.
one of
I
the
think
best
It's one of the
gaming
most
franchises.
overrated gaming franchises.
That's
created.
wrong. You're
I'm
absolutely
just-
wrong
okay,
about that.
That's fine.
I have
Then pay
the
your
entire-
$100.
I have the world that agrees with me. on that.
Sure. And
No,
and
no game's
all
worth
you-
$100.
all you
No game's
sheeple
worth
will pay $100.
no game is worth that.
All right, talk about Doom.
Doom looks good.
And it's on Game Pass. So
it's on Game Pass. It's medieval. It's more Doom.
Do you like...
I don't know. They were saying like, oh, we're revolutionizing. It's like, it's Doom. It's going to be awesome.
It looks very different.
Does it?
Yeah. So
well, yeah, they were saying like you're slower. Well, they didn't say slower. They said you're a tank.
Yeah.
You still hit and move. It's like, okay, you're slower.
You can strafe.
Yeah,
it's like, I
yeah.
thought you could strafe in the other game.
Well, they were saying that the last one was more vertical, like
yeah, you're jumping around and doing crazy stuff.
This one is more grounded.
Yeah.
It's a prequel.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. So it's if you're up on your
Doom
lore.
eyes and stuff. But
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I get it where it's like, oh, this is more old school Doom. And like,
they
that's
were
fine.
really hitting home the point that it's very new to the franchise players friendly, which is,
Sure.
maybe take a step back to take a step forward. You know what I mean?
Maybe
that's the strat.
Yeah.
Because all the Doom fans are going to get it.
Doom Eternal was much. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Like, just of all the different things you had to do. And it's like, okay, you want shield, you have to pull this out. If you want ammo, you have to do it, kill them this way.
Yeah. This seems maybe more simplistic.
But you're losing out on all of like the glory kills and stuff. And it's like...
But you have a chainsaw shield.
Yeah.
And a skull gun.
And the skull gun looks sick.
The skull gun looks very sick.
Clever.
Yeah.
And you have a flail.
Flail is interesting.
Go around
a lot more melee.
They did the cardinal sin of showing the levels as just brown levels.
Yep.
So like, I didn't think the environments looked particularly good.
Nope.
I think the enemies looked cool. I think you shooting stuff looked cool.
Get a dragon.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, that all looked cool. So like, but they were like, oh, it's jump and gun or something was like last year. And then this one's like stand and fight.
That's
and
what
it's
I was
like,
saying. Yeah. It's going to be more grounded.
Do you want to stand and fight in Doom?
After
like
jumping
Doom
around,
Yeah, but isn't the whole point like just mobile? Like this like fluid, like...
I don't know, like the original is... You're like hopping around.
Yeah.
In the original, right?
But you get like... You get this
bunny
like...
hops.
You get this like flow state of just like kind of weaving and dodging and jumping and just kind of going around the board.
Might be a departure from the last one.
Whatever. It's on Game Pass. We'll try it out.
I think it's be good. I don't know.
I think they're great. So it's like...
Yeah, I think I trust them.
Yeah. Again, I don't...
There's like a baseline when it comes to Doom games. It's going to be X amount of good.
It looked empty. And when they were like, oh, it's the biggest map in Doom. And it's like, okay, but like...
With nothing in it.
Yeah, like, is that a good thing?
I don't know.
Like, I would actually like to go back, take a couple screenshots from Dark Ages, put it next to Doom Eternal, and just kind of compare and contrast of like enemy density and things going on in the background and stuff like that. Because I remember really, really enjoying Eternal. So again, I'm just interested. Of course, I'm going to play it. I like Doom, but the levels they were showing, I think, were a little lackluster, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Again, maybe I'm just spoiled with Unreal 5.
I think you're a spoiled brat.
Dude, the level of detail in Unreal 5 is insane.
It is very good.
But you can't, I mean, that would be the most shocking cardinal sin of all.
What?
If Doom was in Unreal.
You can't.
You can't.
Can't do that.
Have to be it. You can't. Yeah.
So the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole point. There will be a day where everything is Unreal, though.
Probably.
It will eclipse.
It will.
It's that good.
They got to come out with something new. Yeah.
What?
Like a new engine.
Unreal?
No, id Tech. Like
they
need like because that's the competing thing.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, it was a lot easier to get the like when Rage came out, it was using that tech and it was like the 60 frames and it was like, holy crap, how can something look this good and be this smooth on a console?
Right.
They just never really did anything with it past then.
Yeah.
So
I am excited pretty much for all of these games, mostly because they're on Game Pass and it costs me nothing. So I'm going to get really big value out of my Game Pass subscription this year, which is excellent.
Yeah.
It might be Xbox's year.
Maybe. I think you think Gear's going to come out this year?
No.
Yeah.
Did you see the trailer for Phantom Zero?
Describe it.
It's like a ninja slashing around. What they showed was really interesting. It was like a boss fight. It was like a bunch of these mannequins. It was really cool.
Oh, no, I didn't see it.
I think it's a Chinese game, maybe. Here are the screenshots if it rings any bells for you.
It probably does not.
Gameplay is very, very fast, though. Very crazy. Like, it looks scripted. So I don't know how to feel about it.
It looks sick.
Because it looks so cool, but it looks like a cutscene. But if that's the actual gameplay,
Yeah.
This might be the best game ever made. The boss fight looked very cool. You should watch the trailer.
So the question is, the 5090 came out. What do you gonna end up doing?
Dude, there is so much conflicting sentiments on this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it.
For a new graphics card is
Yeah.
what the 5090 is, Nvidia's new card.
Yeah, so all the
these
reviews
games coming
came out.
Yeah.
All the reviews came out. You were listening to what's his face?
So I was starting to listen to Linus because he was like kind of the first one that popped on my feed, and then Nexus Gamer came out.
Dude, apparently they have beef. I didn't even know that.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, I just went down that rabbit hole last
Yeah.
night for some reason.
That's what we were talking about a few weeks ago, where it was like Linus is like kind of like the corporate guy of tech tip type
He did
stuff now.
some shady thing or something.
Linus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some he's been going through some scandals over the past 2-3 years.
Well, the
for
honey
sure.
thing, that was a lot of content
Yeah.
creators, though.
Yep.
Which I don't want to say I always knew it was a scam, but it was always weird to me. I was like,
Yeah.
nothing's this good.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
same thing with those. Do you remember people who were getting sponsored by that England or Scotland thing where it's like, oh, you can buy a plot of land and become a lord?
Oh, I don't
You remember that?
No.
That was a huge scam too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, fuck off. This is the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And they're not held accountable for that. So I bet a lot of people bought that shit.
Maybe.
So some pretty
I feel like if you go and you buy that
influential
stuff,
people.
you should. Yeah, you kind of deserve.
It's
what
like
you get.
buyer beware.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be advertising it. That's
Yeah, I'm not saying they did.
it's you're responsible for your own actions in terms of buying shit. But if you're watching like a very influential person, you should have more integrity than that.
It's fair. That's why
It's like, oh, I didn't know. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, come on. Like, you have a fucking brain.
Gamer Nexus might be just like everyone else, but
I think everyone's corrupt and evil.
From what I've been watching of them,
Yeah.
they seem to have a beef with everybody because they're just calling people out like left and right. Like it's
Well, I'm
crazy.
just waiting for his skeletons in his
Something,
closet
yeah.
to be unveiled.
It's
It's gonna be
so
great
far,
day.
but they are
Clean.
thorough. They are the
Everything.
digital foundry of like. I mean, they're showing like
Digital Foundry
infrared.
has their video though, so
Yeah, that's fair.
they're not.
No, but like they're the digital foundry of like that
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of thing
like
where
the
it's
tech.
like just like they're going in. They're like,
I gotta watch his video. It
here's
was
the
like 40
smoke.
minutes though.
You can skip around.
Okay.
Like most of that is just
Timestamps?
benchmarks. Yeah,
Okay.
because he goes. That's which take it or leave it. But it's like we're going to look at 4K games now, and then he goes and like compares it with like this long list of here are all the GPUs, here are all the different like benchmarks that we have for all these different things. And he was saying that like the 5090, like there's not a lot of benchmarks there because like short of the 4090, no one can hit ray tracing maxed out at 4K
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
I guess from that perspective, it's pretty good.
yeah, I mean it's
Stands alone.
pretty much
Right?
like from a like you like Cyberpunk, it's gonna run your Cyberpunk real well.
Yeah.
To the point of the lowest 1%, like the minimum 1% frame rate, like 1% or whatever it is, was higher than all other cards.
Yeah.
So it's like, there you
well,
go,
yeah.
you know?
I think the thing that people are looking at though is what is the percent increase of performance versus the price increase, and it's not from a financial standpoint probably not worth it.
From what he was saying, depending on the game, most of the stuff, it's like it's 30%. Like
Yeah, like
here you go.
30%.
Yeah.
But it's $2,000 card.
Yes. So it's a 30% increase with a 20% increase in price or something like that.
Okay,
So depending on
interesting.
kind of what you're doing.
Okay, so that's worth it then.
Depending
Technically.
on the game. He said that like at the very end, the whole thing is like Nvidia's marketing is complete BS. Do not look at any of their charts because they're wrong.
What do they say? Doubles.
Yeah, like 50% increase in this and
Well, they're talking about
40%.
DLSS 4.
Yeah.
Which
Looks
is
good.
It looks great, but there's also a lot of bugs in it still.
Digital
right?
Foundry was talking it up.
Linus was not.
Sure. But that's the thing is like it's just
not
like
poo-pooing it, but it's like, look, there's still weird things you're going to get with DLSS, right? You're going to get mirrored images, you're going to get ghosting.
yeah. Digital Foundry was going back and forth with like Alan Wake, and they were showcasing stuff that again during gameplay never would notice. I would never.
They actually
care.
said during Alan Wake for DLSS was bad because there's
Yeah.
a lot of ghosting with the flashlight, which is the whole point of the game.
This fixed it.
What
apparently like the 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like they
Interesting,
were
okay.
showing like look at all the textures and how these are all kind of like smudged and stuff, and look at this guy in the background. Look how he's like just kind of like walking, and it's like smearing it along the screen because, again, DLSS 3 didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they were showing like, now it's all straight and crisp
Interesting.
and extra detail and stuff like that. I don't know about the flashlight. I didn't get that part. But
I was just again, I didn't watch that one. I watched
Yeah.
the Linus Tech Tips. So
I think at the end of the day, you're not going to notice. And it's like,
No.
if you get a card that can do 4K with ray tracing on
here's what I'm afraid
above
of, though.
60.
Here's what I'm afraid of, though. The DLSS 4 gives you such a staggering amount of frames. I don't know what to believe anymore. Because it's like, are you actually getting a visual fidelity with these amount of frames? Does that make sense? Where it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem real.
Well, it's like, I mean, does it matter?
I don't know.
Like, if it looks good, plays
For
well,
example,
high frame rate. Like,
in Indiana Jones, it was telling you were getting a certain amount of frames.
yes.
And you were like, I am not getting this amount of frames.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Is it something like that?
It's
Where
fair.
like the number is huge, but it doesn't look
Yeah.
like that.
Again, very game dependent.
Yeah, I think Cyberpunk's going to look awesome.
Cyberpunk's already looking awesome on a
know.
3080. So, like, you're...
Like a 5090
you could get
would
a-
look crazy.
Well, the other thing, too, is if DLSS is this good, then I'm more interested in, okay, what does a 5070 look like? Like, benchmark-wise.
Right.
Like, is 5090... Yeah, okay, we know it's, like, sometimes 33% more. Like, especially when you go into, like, Wukong and stuff, and it's, like, you're starting to turn things on that, like, no other card could, like, handle before. And now...
Well, you were saying Wukong, they couldn't even get Wukong above 60.
But that's so
Just
it's,
raw.
It's depending on what you're benching.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, everything maxed out, ray tracing on
Yeah.
all this
Yeah.
stuff, which I guess is what Linus was doing. At 1440, it was maxing out at like 58 frames. So it's like almost 60, but it's still impressive that everything's maxed out. With
Yeah.
Gamer Nexus, what they do is they do kind of like a like, okay, well, if you put ray tracing at medium here, you're getting kind of like the best of both worlds. It's like optimized settings for certain things, where sometimes when you do ray tracing and you just max it out, you get this massive performance hit for something that is like negligible or you're never going to see it.
Right.
So rather than
balance.
just flipping all the switches up,
Yeah.
they kind of have this like preset thing that they do. At least that's
Which they
my
share?
understanding.
What it is?
It's all on their website. So
interesting.
not only do they have all the games, they have all the presets, and they have all the hardware that they use. So if you wanted to be like, oh, I want to know that this benchmark is exactly what I'm going to get for like Cyberpunk, theoretically, you could just go on PC Part Picker, match all of their parts, build that machine, and you're good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So they have a pretty wide range of options that they use.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And then do they just do like the graphics card, or do they also pair it with what?
So it'd be like
Processor
their
they have.
benchmark machine is, right? So like
Yeah.
they'll say, okay, we're going to have 32 gigs of Crucible memory at this timing and at this speed.
Yeah.
Here's the processor that we use. Here's the like motherboard that we use and everything. That's their base system, which typically when you're doing GPU stuff, you want like, here's overkill on RAM, here's overkill on processor, so you know you're not bottlenecked on those two things. And then you just have this like GPU, and like that's the thing that bottlenecks. So you can really test it. So their like test bed isn't going to necessarily change, if that makes sense. Just the GPUs.
I got you.
But they have
right.
a million
Just slotting those
GPUs that they use. There's like 20 of them just listed.
That is crazy.
Which you have so I couldn't find anything with the 3080 Ti. They had like the 3080 and the 3090. So you could very quickly
I think
see.
Linus used a 3080 Ti.
Yeah, it all depends on what you have in the thing.
Right. Yeah.
But you could very quickly see, okay, here's where the 5090 is. Here's where my 3080 is.
Right.
Oh,
What's that
5090 is
difference?
160 frames, and this is 38.
Well, I think I feel better about doing the upgrade because we're skipping a generation,
yeah.
right? Because it is such a staggering increase. Like for me,
Yeah.
the percentage difference is going to be much higher, obviously, than if you have a 4090 to a 5090. I think that's more of a conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Especially when you're talking like a $2,000.
Exactly.
graphics
That's
card.
like a.
Yeah.
That's like a. So I
Because
I
chances are you spent bare minimum on your 4090, you spent $1,600.
Right.
But you can't find them for under 25 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until they start flooding the market like used, and then
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But now it's like, if you want one, you got to get one like now. Otherwise, they're going to be like gone.
4090s.
No, 5090s.
Can you buy them yet?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it's end of this month. So
Is
it's
it really?
the end of this month, and then you have the new ones coming out. I guess in February is the 5070 or TIs and the 5060s or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I think you
Are
have to.
Are you gonna buy one?
I don't know, man. I don't think I don't have time to play games as much on my PC. So
Right.
it's like, do I want one? Absolutely. But am I going to get the full bang for my buck right now? Probably not. And
So-
if I wait a couple years, then the 60s are going to be out, and then I'll just get those.
Yeah.
So I'm not
that's the
saying
plan?
I never say never. Like
Yeah.
I'll see and I'll weigh the
Yeah.
options, but I'm not really hurting for anything. Usually, if a game isn't performing well, it's because the game isn't optimized well.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem you run
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
over anything else, honestly.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Cyberpunk runs really well with
Yep.
ray tracing on a 3080 Ti. So it's
Yep.
like, and even the Ti, like my card is not leaps and bounds better than yours, but even the 3080 to 3080 Ti,
Was it 10 gigs?
It's a pretty good. It's 12.
12.
Yeah.
Oh, mine's 10.
Yeah,
I
yours is
see. I
10.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like that's even
Yeah.
just 2 gigs of VRAM is
Right.
enough to
It's enough
bump my textures up.
for sure.
It's all good.
All right, that's what we got. Check us out.
Excited.
Check us out. Couchcompany.games. It's all there.
Yes.
Anything you ever wanted in life is there.
Well,
Overpromise, underdeliver. That's the motto.
I gotta change the motto. Okay, got it.
Anyways, if you made it this far, we appreciate you. Going to be here, same time, same place next week. Thanks for joining us on the couch. Peace.